Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sixth of the series of 12 webinars curated by Selectpath to provide organizations and their decision makers information and guidance to stay on the right path journey. My name is Gordon Hart, and I'm a Right Path advisor, and I will guide you through today's topic, benchmarking. This presentation will be recorded and sent out to registered attendees, and a hyperlink will be provided on our client resources page on our website. We ask all members to mute their mic until the end of the session. We will ask that individuals who have questions to use the chat feature, which will be monitored, or to jot down your questions to ask after the formal presentation. Selectpath will create a record of the questions and answers to be made available along with the presentation. We are anticipating that the presentation will take no more than 20 minutes, which will leave plenty of time to answer questions. We recommend that organizations reach out to their Selectpath advisor to learn more about the subjects covered in this session. The presentation is intended to be a guide, and as such, we recommend seeking legal guidance before making any changes which have legal implications. The opinions expressed are those of the presenter and do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the organization or your own advisor. If you find today's presentation informative, we recommend that you share it with anyone you would feel would benefit from it. For some of you, you may not be aware of all the facets of Selectpath product offering and services. As one of Canada's largest owner-operated financial services firm, our businesses are organized into 4 unique offerings. Our employee benefits and pension planning practice boasts the region's most experienced and knowledgeable and credentialed staff, serving over 2,000 organizations and managing over $750 million of premiums. Our benefits and pension division is an industry leader in helping organizations develop, implement, and manage employee benefit plans as part of total compensation strategy and overall organizational strategy to attract and retain your most valuable asset, your staff. Complementary to our benefits division, our financial planning practice works with organizations and their people to build secure future with a team of certified financial planning experts. From insurance to wealth management, we can help individuals stay on their right path to success and security. Our human resource management practice is a scalable resource to help organizations manage their workforce with a hire to retire perspective, helping organizations execute their right path to growing talent. Our fourth area of expertise is helping organizations review and implement human resource information systems and payroll systems. Our team will help your organization build the technology to manage and compensate your talent. While not in this overview, Selectpath is part of the Navicord family of companies. Navicord's combined property and casualty business rank it as the 4th largest broker in Canada. This breadth of knowledge, experience, and access to markets make them the perfect partner for your home and auto and commercial insurance needs. Now let's talk benchmarking. So before considering a benchmark, we must consider the goals and outcomes of such a process. We need to identify actionable findings, whether it's validating organizational goals or uncovering opportunities for efficiency and engagement. So to begin, let's discuss what we mean by benchmarking. Well, the Oxford Dictionary defines benchmarking as to evaluate or check something by comparison with a standard. So with that definition, it's important to define the goal of the evaluation. So defining the purpose and use of the data is important. And by this, we mean, are we benchmarking for competitive reasons or strategic reasons? Competitive benchmarking is typically restricted to organizations in the same industry to evaluate their relative position, whereas strategic benchmarking is expanded to go beyond the industry to determine world-class or best practices regardless of core industry norms. Benchmarking is often focused on uncovering the best practices to drive strategic direction versus competitive research, which is primarily focused on mirroring a competitor to remain competitive. Benchmarking can be used to provide a data point, milestones, if you will, or power change with actionable steps as part of an organization's objectives. Think top quartile programs as an example. So now that we've clarified what we mean by attempting to benchmark or to do a benchmarking, let's discuss what to benchmark. So there can be numerous elements and purposes of benchmarking, but our experience leads us to 4 common reasons. coverage comparison to show a plan sponsor where comparable organizations are offering versus their own program, contribution comparisons, which will show what the comparable organizations are investing versus their own program, cost comparison, which will show just that, what are the cost differences, which are also impacted by the coverage and consumption patterns of the underlying membership. So these comparisons must be managed carefully because of the limited credibility of the data for smaller plan sponsors. Benchmarking can also provide line of sight on innovations within benchmarks like virtual care, mental health, and flexible design and choice. Regardless of which of the elements you focus on, it's important to acknowledge that there are significant barriers to obtaining quality information for which you benchmark against. While coverage is quite straightforward, it's much more difficult to obtain data around contribution formulas. So what are the key advantages of benchmarking? Well, benchmarking can provide organizations a sense of the existing program relative to a cross-section of their peers. With this data, you can determine the relative competitiveness of the existing program. These results, in tandem with member surveys, as well as organizational workforce investment goals, can provide a baseline to their existing plans and a platform to consider changes. With adequate information on the relative competitiveness of the existing offering, feedback from the plan members, and an integration with organizational goals, a benchmark can provide a reference point from which to make adjustments. So hard data supports the informed decisions to manage the risk associated with benefits. And these risks can include the engagement and perceived value of the plan for the members, the program's influence on productivity, the program's relative value when competing to attract and retain the talent necessary to run your organization, the program's risk management from the plan sponsor's perspective in terms of sustainability, and from the plan member's perspective in terms of protection and real or potential out-of-pocket expenses. So let's talk resources. The key challenge for all organizations is finding credible data. Cloud Advisors is an organization that benchmarks benefit plans. Selectpath engaged this organization to sample our own plan data and include the data of more than 8,000 programs across Canada. The data provides coverage offerings sampled by organizations by region, industry, and group size. And it also provides summary data on high-level coverage, showing frequency of line of benefit, as well as granular coverage data with up to 75 data points, growing to over 115 data points over the next 12 months. So let's take a quick look at these two reports. We have a benchmark on coverage for the province of Ontario, as well as the province of Alberta. What you'll see is that in this competitive comparison, the groups are quite different, with over 5,000 programs in Ontario and just over 2,500 programs in Alberta. When digging in, you can see that only 13% of plans in Ontario have a group retirement program, whereas 35% of Alberta plans have a group retirement program. Now, speaking particularly of benefits, life insurance forms part of the benefit plans in more than 96% of the sample programs. The top quartile program in Ontario provides 40,000 of coverage, where the same top quartile in Alberta provides 75,000 of coverage. Dependent life coverage is included in 72% of Ontario plans, while 84% of Alberta plans have the coverage. In both provinces, 10,000 for the spouse and 5,000 for each child is top quartile coverage. Accidental death and dismemberment is included in 94% of plans in both Ontario and Alberta. You'll see that these plans typically match the life insurance coverages. Critical illness is part of 10% of plans in Ontario and 15% of plans in Alberta. Top quartile plans provide $25,000 of coverage in Ontario versus $30,000 in Alberta. Long-term disability is included in 68% of Ontario plans, while it's included in 79% of plans in Alberta. Top quartile plans in Ontario provide up to $8,000 a month of coverage versus $10,000 a month in Alberta. Short-term disability plans are included in 13% of plans in Ontario versus 38% of plans in Alberta. You can see that both provinces, the top quartile plans more than double employment insurance protection. Regardless of the province, 96% of plans have drug coverage with top quartile protection at 100% reimbursement of eligible expenses. Across both provinces, more than half of plans have vision care coverage, with top quartile coverage being $250 per member. Across both provinces, paramedical services like massage, physio, and chiropractic care are covered at 94 to 95% of plans, with an average reimbursement level of $500 per practitioner per year. Dental is included in 90% of plans in both provinces, with top quartile reimbursement at 100% of eligible expenses. Major dental is included in 32% of Ontario plans versus 72% of Alberta plans. Now, these services typically cover 50% of services like crowns, inlays, onlays, dentures, and bridges. Orthodontic services are covered in 15% of Ontario plans versus 38% of Alberta plans. Top quartile coverage provides up to $2,500 lifetime in Ontario versus $3,000 lifetime in Alberta. Health spending accounts are in 8% of Ontario plans versus 18% of Alberta plans. But keep in mind, this benchmark typically excludes health spending account only plans, which do represent a share of the market. Taxable spending accounts still have not made their way into the mainstream in either province, but I would expect to see this change as sponsors revisit their total compensation strategies. Employee assistance programs are in 20% of Ontario plans and 25% of Alberta plans, but this data may not reflect the recent activity to add this feature to programs in response to the pandemic. Second opinion services are included in 33% of Ontario plans and 42% of Alberta plans, and may reflect the embedded bundle offerings of the insurers who are carrying the coverage for the benchmarked organizations. Overall, you can see that Alberta does have an edge in the quality of coverage, which does reflect a historical tighter job market in the province driven by natural resources. It will be interesting to see how these comparisons change over time. These reports give you a high-level perspective into plan features based on the region, employer size, and industry. Cloud Advisors has a more granular report to benchmark the coverage more intimately. So beyond Cloud Advisors, Selectpath has its own robust data set based on serving more than 2,000 individual organizations. This data can be harnessed to provide benchmark data to compare claims and financial factors within the benefit programs. In addition, Selectpath acquired access to DataLeap, which provides detailed claims and cost analytics. While this system only serves our GreenShield client block, Selectpath is working towards bringing more partner insurers onto this platform. Lastly, Selectpath is part of the Benefits Alliance Group, which is the largest network of independent advisors. This network is currently building a data warehouse to provide detailed financial and claims data for benchmarking purposes across the 8,500 programs the members support. Our DataLeap analytics tool will help plan sponsors understand their performance versus historical results, but also versus a large cross-section of employer plans to help understand their performance and how it benchmarks versus others. We can also develop unique financial performance dashboards at a glance we create for clients to help benchmark their performance versus key performance indicator targets. So, as always, we're happy to connect. Whether you give us a call, send us an email, like us on Facebook, check out our site, catch one of our tweets, follow us on LinkedIn. Let's connect. This ends the presentation today. Thank you for your time and consideration. We hope this presentation provided you some useful information. Feel free to share. We look forward to connecting again. Bye for now.